second, third, fourth round, fifth round even, that we will find starting offensive linemen in. At some point, can you draft? Yeah, you draft Trent Williams. You draft the pick of draft where you're getting a difference maker. But there's guys that can make difference that touch the ball well into second, third, fourth rounds, or second, third rounds at least, and definitely in the first round. That guy that touches the ball, it makes a huge difference in the game. The right guard makes a difference. We've talked about it before, but that's where we're able to find fourth and fifth round draft picks. And if they've been, you go find, it's how dominant is the difference between pick, 34 versus pick 54 in offensive line play. And that's what you're trying to balance all the time. So will we best available player, all those types of things? Definitely will. And were we possibly ready to draft guys higher to draft? Yes. But if there's somebody that can touch the ball and make plays, in my opinion, you asked me, Chris, do you want him? I want the guy that touches the ball for me, because I think we can develop those players much more readily and have developed those players through the times, because we do have a specific things that we're looking for. We know what we're looking for through the course of time. That's the advantage of being together with Kyle for so long, that we kind of can pigeonhole these guys. Are we always right? Heck no, we're not always right. And nobody is on anything. So, yeah, could you put 5 first-rounders across the front? I don't know that we have to have success, and it hasn't been that case as far as running the football and protecting the quarterback. Do we have – yeah, we don't have 5 first-rounders, so there's always going to be that. But the fact that you can throw a short pass to Debo, even though the right tackle's getting beat, it ends up being a 60-yard touchdown. So, yeah, the right tackle blocks somebody, but if the guy gets tackled at 5 yards, you don't have the 60-yard touchdown. Boy, that right tackle did a great job. What's it matter if the guy touching the ball can't take it to the house? So there's the trade-off, and you're constantly playing that game.
How much is that belief for you kind of rooted in the system, and also how much is just rooted in the fact that you've been doing this a long time? And
I'm telling you, I did it when I got to Baltimore. A good friend of mine, Jed Fish, who's the head coach at the University of Washington now, he and I were talking, and he was a quality control guy in Baltimore. And New England was the mid 2004 or 5, whatever it was. They were the rage. And I said, go watch that offensive line and just tell me how good they are. And he started looking at it, and he goes, my gosh, he just put 5 X's on the board, nondescript, circled them, and said, it doesn't matter who those 5 guards, as long as 12 is the quarterback. He's throwing it to Randy Moss, Wes Welker, and those guys, Edelman. He says, it doesn't matter. And it didn't. You just saw that they did an excellent job. Dante did a great job of coaching them. They had a system that they believed in, and they got the ball to the people that could do things with the football, and he's like, I get it. Now, there's a line, and this is what I always say with offensive line play, and this is a cool discussion. I love this discussion. There's a line below which that, with offensive line play, that if you just drop a little bit below it, it's a gaping hole. It's just all of a sudden you're like, he can't block anybody. And now we got a major problem. But as long as they're at that line and just above it, you can survive it, and you can take care of them. We've got ways within our system. We can chip. We can do all sorts of things to help guys. Slide lines, double team the best rusher on the team. There's so many mechanisms to help a lineman that's insufficient. If a guy can't get open, if a guy can't catch the ball and run, that's where we have a problem. But in offensive line play, you got to be careful. You got to have those 6, 7, 8 guys that are just at that line or above, and that's the challenge. Where's that line in the draft? Is it the 3rd round, 2nd round, 4th round, 5th? When's that line where all of a sudden the tackles have dried up, the guards have dried up? Now you're talking about drafting backup players, which is fine. They're backup players, but they're not going to be long-term starters for your team, and that's the challenge for me. Because eventually the guys that can run and score touchdowns run out. They're not there anymore. So you have to find those quality starters at other positions. And you got to be right, because oftentimes when you draft a lineman in the 4th or 5th round, there might be a guy that could come in immediately and contribute on special teams, contribute to be a backup linebacker, safety. And that's where so I'm not, okay, we didn't draft him first, second. We got to take somebody in the 4th round here, because I got 5 guys, got 5 holes to fill. So
who's a guy that you, through the years, have said, this is a backup guy that we just drafted, who then turned out to be really, really good?
I don't want to go. I got to think back. It turned out to be good?
Yeah. That you thought was like,
I don't know if anybody comes to mind offhand. I'd have to think for a minute here. I'd try to stay away from the current roster, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going back years before that. And no, there are probably guys that were on the team that I may have labeled as backups when we got there, and then they end up projecting beyond that. But I can't think of any offhand.
You were optimistic that Ben Barch would take another step from his ACL injury. Are you seeing that this offseason?
100%. In fact, thanks for reminding me. I forgot he had the ACL. That's why it was kind of that little bit of a delay. And he got back in there this year, and he is this spring. He's taken a step. Now we're playing in shorts, but his initial, he's heard it. He got away from it. He's come back, and he's looked very, very good at center and guard. And we'll see when we get the pads on if he's able to play with a little more anchor, a little more strength in the things. But right now, he looks like he's been here for 3 or 4 years and has fit in very well. We're happy with Ben.
What do you like about Nugent?
Nuge. Nugent's a good guy. Okay, Nugent, here's a good story. His dad and I played college football together. He was the quarterback, I was the center, so we had a very special relationship. The dad, though, his name's Terry Drake. We watched him at Michigan. He was at Stanford. We looked at all the Michigan linemen, and we got to the end of the draft. We got to the week before the draft. We started looking at the guys we think are going to be drafted 6th, 7th, or not be drafted at all. He fits our style. You know, he is the more undersized, quick guy that plays with a lot of leverage and things like that may not be big enough, may not quite be the prototypical starter guy, but he does have some of those traits that we really like, and he fits our system real well. That's what we saw. Even though Michigan really didn't highlight outside zone at all. I mean, PFF has this thing where you can take they categorize the play by outside, inside, gap scheme. They had like 17 outside zones the whole season, and they ran the crap out of the ball. And so it was hard to bet, but you had to look at his testing, and we did like him a lot. A really good kid, and personally, because knowing the dad, knowing the family, I felt really good about the character of the kid as well, so we liked that as well.
What have you seen so far from Isaac Alarcon?
I'm sorry, say again?
Isaac Alarcon.
Isaac? He's doing a good job. Yeah, he's an upgrade. He's a little bit better than our last year, Fredo. He's a little bit better than the guy we've had the last 3 years around here. He does a good job. He's a little more athletic, moves around, and Alfredo did a great job for us. Great job. But this guy's actually pretty good. He's doing a good job. I like him.
What have you seen from Isaac Garendo? Just obviously it's really early, but
Very early, really smooth, fluid runner like we saw in college. I think he's gonna be a good pass receiver, but still early to tell. Those backs are rotating through pretty good. They're all doing a nice job right now. I really liked the back when we were looking at the backs. He was a guy that really stood out to me as, even though he didn't play all the time, you saw the flashes, you saw the speed, and that's a dimension that we're looking to add to our backfield. Not that Christian's not fast. Christian would kill me if I said he wasn't fast enough. He's plenty fast enough, but you're always trying to add one more big hit element.
Chris, Pooney can play a bunch of spots. Is there a spot that he's more advanced in, and if you had to start him right away, he's more advanced in any of the 5 spots?
He's played guard and tackle. I think, I don't know. He might have even played center at some point, but he's built to be a guard. Now, does that not mean he won't be our 4th tackle possibly, the way the roster shakes out? Could he be our starting right guard or left? I mean, he could be a swing guard. The only thing I'm not sure I'm going to rep him at is center, but he's going to be able to play left guard, left tackle, right guard, right tackle. We're primarily working him at right guard right now. That's a place we felt we could get some competition going and work at that spot, but he easily could be the 4th tackle, 3rd. I mean, he could work in anywhere there. He's got ability to play all. He's best suited to guard, though. He could end up, you never know what happens. Hopefully, we'll see how it plays out.
At left tackle, have you kept in touch with Trent Williams at all in the last few months? And then how do you like how Jalen Moore and Brandon Parker are?
Yeah, Trent always is. We stay in touch. A little bit. His off season's his off season. He takes care of himself. Always comes back in good shape. It's all voluntary. I've learned a long time ago to never be upset whether a guy's here or not. It's voluntary. They put the V word in front of it. It is what it is. It's voluntary. So how can I get mad when a guy doesn't come when it's voluntary, right? So he works hard. He always comes back and is a good player and in good shape. Jalen Moore has continued to. He always progresses. Jalen's not a. If you guys know Jalen or met Jalen or talked to him at all, he's a very soft-spoken, very even-keeled guy. But yet every year he just comes back a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And I'm really impressed with how he's doing this year. And he's got to dig in. As I said, he's got the most thankless job in the world, right? He spends the whole offseason, the whole preseason being our starting left tackle. It precludes him from competing at right guard or right tackle because somebody has to go play our left tackle spot and be there when Purdy's in the game or when we're trying to get things going. And so he's kind of locked into that, perennial backup role. But then you never know. Hopefully nothing happens. But if something does, that he's ready to go. And he's really proven every year to embrace more. And I love Jalen. I love what he does. He's not going to jump off the screen at you. He's not going to jump off personality-wise. But I love the guy. Great guy. And he has improved every year.
Your rookie offensive lineman had really fast short shuttle times. How big of a point of emphasis was that in meeting rooms prior to the draft? And have you seen some of that quick translate on the field already?
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I know somebody sent it to me. I think whoever put it out there, whatever. I don't have one of those social media things, but somebody sent it to me and I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I think it's more of the traits. We see the traits in a player, and it just so happens to translate short shuttle. Now, short shuttle to me. Short shuttle is a science. Short shuttle, you can train the kid to run a short shuttle. There's a thing to the feet, the hands. I don't know what it is, but literally they can just by training it properly knock time off it that doesn't demonstrate as much of their core skills, right? The 3-cone drill has a little harder. Doesn't matter how technical you are. There's so much start and stop and weaving. I go a little bit more on the 3-cone personally, but it's funny that the short shuttle, it obviously must have some carryover because these things that I talked about that we see on tape that you don't see our plays, but you see the traits of the player. It must be something that's good in the short shuttle as well. So it wasn't something we pinpointed. I've been with a lot of personnel people that go like, look, if an offensive lineman doesn't have a short shuttle of this, we're not taking him. Or if a tight end doesn't have a 20 of this or a 3-cone or a vertical, they won't take them because over time, that's what analytics does. They just chart on a graph and say, look, these guys that are under this number or above this number don't make it. And so they say, why would we take them? Because odds are they don't make it. That's a little too analytical, but it's a good jump-off spot to say, boy, they better show some other things to say they're going to. So that was an interesting stat. It makes me look at it a little bit. It's just interesting to see how it showed up. It was cool.
What do you need to see from whether it's Spencer, Burford, or Pooney? It seems like that right guard position is going to create a pretty interesting competition. What do you need to see from, I guess, Burford or Pooney or anyone else to win that spot?
The offensive line play, we've talked about it before, consistency, talent, all this ability in the world. But, man, when it comes down to things happening quickly, being consistent, playing and play out, understanding the offense, how the defense plays it, every little intricate piece of this thing. It's not just about pass blocking and run blocking. There's so much that goes into it that you just miss a little detail, a little adjustment. And a lot of times it's things that come up that I can't cover. You have to understand and embrace the concept of the play or whatever we're doing to know that, oh, gosh, but if I follow my rules, this is where it takes me. And that's what we're looking for. That's one of the things that all these guys we took this year, and that one of the things are, and John spoke about it probably to you guys in the draft, and I'll keep talking all day. So, but what he said is, he said, look, he goes, we found that with offensive linemen that the what it takes, the character, the intelligence, all those things. Not saying one of our guys don't have it, but those picks after those first couple talent round, the guys are just playing because of sheer ability and talent. Those guys in the offensive line, they got to have that thing that they can figure it out. They're at some point you don't make it as a player, you coach. It's an offensive lineman because the game, you understand the game, you're intrigued by the game. It's cool to coach it, teach the little pieces of it and all that stuff like that. And that's what these guys have to be. They literally have to be coaches on the field. And so sometimes the further away you get from the ball, the tackles, they have to have a little bit less of it. And that's what analytics has found out, that as we start analyzing those character traits, those intelligent traits, that we've kind of found out that as you go with offensive line, it tends to be a little bit more leans that direction. Now, is that everybody? I don't know how that works for every other team in the league, but for us, those types of guys. So that's what we're looking for in that position. That position right now, that's how a guy like Feliciano played with just a little more consistency. And was it a lot? I say no. I mean, when somebody said how Spencer came to me when we didn't put him back in the lineup, he goes, Coach, am I playing? I said, no, but it's 2 or 3 plays. It's just 2. It's not many. Everybody else is grading here, and you're just those 2 or 3 plays a game, and you just don't know when they're going to show up and how they're going to show up. And so those 2 or 3 plays are just like, gosh, we just got to get those 2 or 3 plays better. We're just looking for that consistency. Maybe it comes from Spencer this year. Obviously, he's the most talented of the players. I think he's as talented or more than Pooney. Pooney will push that from that. And John's just a guy that is a veteran, good player that knows how to get it done. Very savvy, good vet player. But these talented guys, when they figure it out, and that's what you keep hoping. So maybe it comes from Spence, maybe it comes from Pooney, maybe it comes from somebody else. I don't know where it comes from, but we're hoping we can get just a little more consistent play out of that position.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Sure, you have some kickoff return questions, so whatever you guys have.
What was your initial reaction to the?
Yeah, kind of the off season when you get the news, it's a lot of anxiety because what you're looking at is the only thing you really have to look at is the XFL, and it's different too than that. So you really try to do as much as you can until the players got here, is because before it was all in my brain, and one thing would go to another, and then all of a sudden I think it's about here now for me in terms of once we get the fundamentals together, once we ask the players to communicate with us, talk to us, what do you see? And once we kind of broke it down that way to get to, I think, some fundamentals that will stick in terms of how to get there. And now we have to see where it goes because It's different, that's for sure.
How much XFL tape did you watch?
A ton, a ton. And the difference there is they're on the 35-yard line, and there's just 10 across with one returner. So even 5 yards and the spacing and timing, it's just really different, and it's really, really fast. So you can kind of pull off years past, but the spacing and timing and like George, for instance, for us, Odom, he was so skilled at speed, number one, and then weaving down the field to put him in position as it's, developing. So I think everyone that sees it for the first time, it's really strange because you see the kickoff, and I'm standing right here, and it's just like it's like you're in space. You never see that happen without everyone moving. And so it's really like the music went off. I was like in the twilight zone. And then when it happens, it's really fast. So getting used to all that for the players, and it's going to continue to evolve. So
In what ways has it kind of changed how you view what you're looking for in a returner specifically?
Well, and that's where I think you have to start. It's all about the ball. And so that's where we always start. So you always try to anticipate what kickers are going to do. And it could be anywhere. So that's where we start preparing. So is it going to be like a shortstop? Is it, what type of fielding balls are you going to get? What type of guys are there? And then what type of runners are there? I mean, is it going to be better to have a bigger back where you can break through the arm tackles because everyone's going to be engaged? Is it going to be a quicker guy? But it all starts with the football. So that's where you build everything from, and really trying to figure out where they're going to kick it, how they're going to kick it.
Sounds like you're still figuring it out.
Oh, everyone's still figuring it out. Like, the way I feel about it now, again, that's the best way I can explain it in my mind. It was here in my mind with all the things that could go on. And you wanted to try to get some base fundamentals that you think you could, just from geometry, basically. And so you put all those in, and then once you see with the players, okay, now at least we have a starting point where I think we can get it pretty close to the fundamentals to get in position to make the block. And then we're going to see how it all evolves. So I feel good where we're at right now. And again, there's 31 coaches like me that don't know exactly if we're on the right track, what it's going to look like. So more than anything, it's going to be adjusting. And so right now I feel good, kind of finally with the players and getting their input and working through it all. But that's going to be, it's exciting. I mean, I'm fired up. This is the coolest thing to happen in terms of in my coaching career, because what are you going to do? You have a great opportunity to do something that's never been done before. So it's a race to figure it out. And it's going to be constantly adjusting.
As far as the returns, are you at an advantage because 49ers use an offensive line? Their offensive linemen are often a little bit, faster, better on their feet than maybe a typical one, just the way that they do the zone blocking scheme?
I think it's an easier way to explain it is all the kickoff return teams have the advantage. Every kickoff return team, just from the way the kickoff team is set up. If you think about it, we're on the 40-yard line with the same width we were when we were way back at the 35. So backside, almost geometry. I'm not very good at math, but those guys are almost eliminated just by alignment, if that makes sense. So where it turns into, that's what everyone tries to figure out. So all the fundamentals are there, but then the body types that are on there, we just got to see what works. And we have our plan kind of going into it, but I think you just got to be ready to adjust however it looks.
How abstract did you get? Like, did you do wargaming? Like, were you looking at simulations? I mean, how did you, process all these possibilities over the summer?
I think I just relied on what I've always relied on in coaching, and it's let's break it down to the simplest form and let me get started. And that, to me, is fundamentals. And so I knew we had only 5 yards or 10 yards instead of 25. So when guys used to do kickoff return, they used to have time to move, process where the ball is lined up, how high it is, where the returner is. We used to give them landmarks from 32-yard line, you're going to execute your block, the 30, the 27. And that was all done by who we were blocking. So the speed of the guys coming down. So that's all out. And you have to process all of that it happens like that because then everyone's moving. So if you're out of position in that and your footwork's wrong or your fundamentals aren't there, it's just chaos. So that's how I simplified it in my mind. And once we kind of thought what we wanted to do, the players really helped in terms of their input. And then when you could actually work it, you could actually see what it's going to look like. It's like, okay, we can't do this. This is what we're going to look into. So.
Will you figure it out? Will training camp practices have enough contact involved to be able to do that, or is this something that is going to last into the preseason? And
I think you're going through the whole season. I mean, to me, if you don't look at this like a totally different play than anything we've coached, I think you're going to be playing catch up. So I'm trying to, and it's just like you said, the speed of contact. Like last year, those guys are running full speed, and there's a lot of things that happen in terms of what they can and can't do just by how fast they're running. That's out too now. So all those things you have to figure out how it works when it's alive, and we won't know until the first preseason, like when it's live. But so that's what makes it interesting.
How much do you have to study the other 31 teams just to see? Because everyone's gonna be doing it a little bit differently, just to see. Oh man, like wow, these guys.
A ridiculous amount, and we do that every week anyway. But this is all it is. It's you have to figure it out, and I think it's going to be so impactful if you don't. I mean, we're talking touchdowns, we're talking average start at the 40, we're talking long field goals, more scoring, all that's going to affect it.
A lot of different kinds of return guys. And just who sits atop the depth chart right now, and is there anybody that you trust the most right now in that spot?
The first thing I like that you said is you have a lot of returners, and that's I love that right now. So we're getting them as much as we can, and we'll continue to do that. So we have a lot of guys back there, a lot of new guys back there, and I love it. Just the competition. So all that is going to evolve with the way I see it.
The other special team coordinators that you talked to, was there kind of a lot of talk when it first came out, and now everybody's kind of secretive, trying to figure out their own process, or was there?
Well, we had Zoom meetings with all of us, so the communication has been great that way. But I think everyone's kind of holding on to their stuff. I don't talk to a whole lot of guys. I talked to a couple guys I'm close to, and we've kind of skirted around it. So I don't think that it's a whole lot of sharing going on, and that's what it is. You got to figure it out. But that's to your question. That's why every single week, that's all we're going to do is study to see what you can eliminate, what you can add, what looks good, and what fits into what we're already doing.
I got two Jake Moody questions. One is on the kickoffs with like how important is his placement ability? And then two, looking back to last year, was there a common thread in his misses over the last 4 games that you coach up with him this offseason?
Yeah. First of all, so the kickoff question. That's what nobody knows. What is it going to look like? The first thing, I think if you just get a normal kickoff ball, that all advantages are for the kickoff return team, all of them. The only advantage a kickoff team really, because of the spacing and where you're at a kickoff team, you're eliminating half the guys in a lot of things. So the only advantage for a kickoff team is to have a kicker that can move it around and get the returner off balance instead of a nice clean catch and going. That happens way faster than it used to. So the way we're approaching it is we're prepared for all. We need, again, starting with the ball, we need to prepare them for everything. Second question, Jake. Yeah, it was really cool going through the whole season with Jake. You know, to get Jake away and have him process it through the film. And really I asked him to do it, what was going on in the week, what was going on in your life, what happened, put it all together on your own. And then we came back, with Pepper and Mitch and all the coaches. And it was really cool just to process it all. Mitch has been a great mentor to him. And when we get through it, 3 things really came out that were really clear. Number one, it was a tremendous learning experience. He had so many things come up, game situation, all those things. And when you're talking about a rookie, you try to prepare him the best you can. And just things happen when you play the game. So number one, the lessons that he learned and the situation was wonderful for him to set a base. The second thing that really stood out, he always responded to adversity, which to me that's what kickers have to be. And we're trying to close down the adversity, but that's what is impressive with me late in the season too, and even the Super Bowl. And that's like leading up to everything, all rookies, that first year is hard. And when you take a kicker, he finished his season, he goes right to working out, he goes right to the combine, he has individual workouts, his leg is shot, he comes right to here. So monitoring how much we kick and always paranoid that you're not getting enough is a fine line. So you walk that dance all year. But ultimately he's built for this. And I say that because of the Super Bowl. He was so fired up in that game, so excited. I mean, that stage he excelled on. And, he had the 55 record right off the bat. That was broken. And we missed an extra point in there, which was really affected the game. But to see him come back and with a minute 57, hit the, I think it was a 53-yarder, and when you look, that was his best kick of the year. So to me, I know exactly who he is because I'm around him every day. And I think the more opportunities everyone has, they'll see it too.
What exactly did go wrong on that extra point?
This is the way I always approach everything. It first starts with me, and I always take everything. Then it starts with Pep. How clean was he? Then it goes to Mitch. How clean was he? Then it goes to Jake. How clean was he? Then it goes to all our protectors. And there's many times throughout a year that someone doing their job really good covers up for someone else. So that's always the way we do it. And Jake owns that. It was a low kick. And all the factors that happen, that's what happens. And the game of football, adversity strikes by our own doing or by something outside of us. So it's always the way we respond. And that's what Jake consistently shows. Thank you, guys.
the transition like for you coming here? What's your first impressions of being in this building on this new team?
The transition, it's been great so far. It's been lovely coming in and seeing all the coaches, seeing all my new teammates, guys I played against over the years, and just happy to be on their side going against anybody else now. Yeah.
Since you've been with a couple other teams, what strikes you as different here initially?
I'd probably say the work ethic, way guys come in, work hard every day, ain't too much complaining. Guys just locked in, and we all understand hard work. I'll probably say that's the biggest thing. The team really understands how to come in and work hard as a team.
Both that all before you got here, and then what's it been like within the last couple of weeks, maybe sharing tips?
No, I didn't know him before I got here, but I did know his brother. We got drafted in the same draft. But from the outside looking in, I knew Nick was a baller, and I'm looking forward to playing with him.
Chris Foerster said that he'll have you standing up at sometimes hands in the dirt. What is your feeling do you like both styles?
Yeah, I do like both styles. I've always been a stand-up guy, but I've been buying into the position. Coach been trying to teach me, and I've been really buying out and trying to learn it and be the best I can at that.
Seems like you had quite a few opportunities to put your hand in the dirt last year in Buffalo. Do you think that was a nice way to prepare you for your role here?
Yeah, it definitely was a little prep before I got here. I'm kind of used to playing in that type of scheme where everything's a little tighter, everything's happening a little quicker. Yeah, it definitely was a warm-up for me.
Leonard, it sounds like the NFL owners are pretty excited to expand the regular season to 18 games. Do you share their excitement?
I mean, yeah, I do. That's another check, right? So, yeah, more games, more checks.
Are there any, I mean, you know how long a season is. Do you have any, as a guy now in his 30s, do you have any like, oh geez, that's going to be tough?
Yeah, I don't look at the whole season. I break it down into quarters. First 4 games, that's 1 quarter. I never look at it as the whole big picture. That's when it'll mess with your brain. I take it 1 game at a time.
It must be why you don't miss any games, right?
Yeah, that might be it for sure.
Would you want some concessions for something like that, though, like an extra bye week or anything like that? Have you even given it?
I really haven't gave it any thought, but as long as the check, they got the check, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
What do you think the key to your sustainability is? I mean, you haven't missed any games in so long.
Just my mindset, knowing the best ability is availability. I mean, there's always nicks and knacks, but I play through them. I'm a tough guy.
How have you liked working with Foerster so far?
Oh yeah, I love him, man. He's a tough coach. He's fired up every day, and I love that. I can tell he's passionate about the game, and I'm looking forward to going out and winning games with him.
A lot of guys come here and they've heard from afar that this is the place to be a defensive lineman because you just go, And did you know that beforehand, and are you finding that to be true since you got here?
Oh yeah, I knew it beforehand from simply playing against the team. Yeah, guys go, and that's something I want to do. I want to get out to the quarterback. I want to affect the game in the run game, just affect winning. Anything to help us win, that's what I'm buying into.
What you dealt with early in your career, a lot of pressure and expectations. When do you feel like you, I don't know if arrived, but felt comfortable, like you were going to be okay in the NFL?
You never really comfortable, because every year it starts over. You got to get the sacks. It's always pressure, As soon as you get your sacks, you got to start from 0 the next year. So it's always pressure, always.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Feeling wonderful. It's May. We're back in the building. Guys are around having fun, playing football. It's a great time to be alive.
Where are you in your recovery right now?
Coming along, progressing as planned. Goal is to be back ready for training camp, and all signs point to I will be ready for training camp.
How long were you dealing with that specific injury last year?
Quite a while. I'd say kind of like week 9, 10. We took some MRIs of it and some stuff didn't show up, so we weren't really entirely sure what we were dealing with until I got the surgery. So that was a tough one. So we tried to figure it out, but just things weren't popping up on the scans, and so just something that we were playing through probably for 10 weeks. It's fun stuff.
When you say we were playing through, you?
Me in the training room. They tried, doing everything they can, to just help keep me on the field as much as I possibly could, try not to miss any practices and stuff like that, and they did a great job of that. And so it wasn't the most fun, but still could play at a high level.
You and Mooney discuss rehab process or going through the same thing together?
It was fun. He had surgery literally the week before I did, so it was just fun, hearing someone who had just experienced it too. Because if you have to get surgery, I like to do a second, maybe a third opinion, talk to different people who are doing it, and we ended up both going to the same guy, and he had great success for it, and so went and did the same thing, and it was a little different surgery. There were some similarities, but they had to reattach something differently for me than they did to him, so it's a little different, but overall, I think we're both progressing at a good rate.
George, you spoke last night at the State of the Franchise.
I did. Stuck me up there.
What is the state of the franchise right now?
State of the franchise? Got a really good roster, great coaches, great players, ready to win. I'd say that's the state of the franchise. Need to win now.
Is that a prevailing feeling, we need to win now?
I feel like it has been every single year. That's your one goal is, to make it all the way, make it through the entire season, and then, get to the end and win. And, unfortunately, we didn't do it again. So it's just all right, going to climb the mountain again. This time we just have to win.
It seemed like after that game and a couple days after that game, the Super Bowl, you took it really hard, maybe harder than you've ever taken anything in the context of your NFL career before. Well, what made this one so difficult for you, and how do you put it past you and move forward?
I'd say how I put it past me is, I'm still wake up every single day and I got to play football, and I have another opportunity to go at it again this season. And, nothing I can do about controlling that. It is what it is. And unfortunately, I didn't achieve the goal that I have to win a Super Bowl, but I have another opportunity to do it this year. So does that suck? Yeah. But the fact that I have another opportunity with a fantastic football team, great roster, I'd love to again bet on my team. Not really, but figuratively speaking, of course. Why was it so hard? Multiple reasons. When you playing football is really hard to make it through an entire season. To be as healthy as you can be, to try to make plays. Every individual player has their own individual goals, but everyone has the same team goal, and so it's been a really fun team to be a part of. We have a great core group of guys, and just when you don't achieve that one goal that you really want to get to, it's tough. And I think back to Joe Staley played in 2 Super Bowls, didn't win one. Garrett Selleck played in 2 Super Bowls, didn't win one. And just listening to them talk about how hard it was, I get that now. I understand that. Just playing for 7 years, but you get past it because we have a fantastic roster, and I still believe in this team and the ability that we have to win.
What's the tougher part of that? Is it the physical side of bouncing back for multiple long seasons like that, or the mental side, or maybe a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think pretty good on the mental side of it. Like I said, I woke up today and my wife's happy and healthy, and I get to play football every single day, so I'm good with that. Physical side, yeah, you take a lot of hits. It's a long season. 17 games plus 3 playoff games. Yeah, it's a long season and definitely takes a toll on your body. So, and then you have a shorter recovery time. So, it's just kind of how you handle your rehab, how you handle your off season, and that prepares you, for July, August, and the rest of the season. So, there's a toll on it, but I'm still living my dream job. I'm playing football for a fantastic team, and I'm just excited to go to work every single day. So, I'm not less optimistic than I was last year or the year before that. I'm pretty excited still.
George, you're speaking of long seasons. NFL owners seem excited to make your seasons longer. What are your thoughts on playing 18 regular seasons?
18 games. Well, Well, I've been saying forever, I think we need 2 byes regardless. I think it's an incredibly long season. And, in my opinion, an extra bye, all it does is add an extra week to the season, more TV deals and stuff like that, more money on TV. So I think realistically, if you want to play 18 games, you're going to have to shorten something else somewhere. And they talked about taking a preseason game out, which to me doesn't really matter because I play in one preseason game a year. I think most vets do. So that doesn't really do anything for anybody. But, you still have to practice. You still have to go through training camp, gets your body ready for a long season. But, I think if you don't add 2 bye weeks, you're just going to look at the end of the season, you're going to look at a lot of teams who are missing a lot of key players because I think it's hard for, players to stay healthy that long. I also think 18 games is, it's aggressive. And, the one thing that's nice about the 16 games is, or 16, or, now we're at 17, we got into that somehow still. Just I feel like the football's better, when you're playing those games. I think when you get towards the end of the year, like I said, you just have a lot of injured teams, a lot of stuff like that, and you're missing out on, good football. And also, if you get to 18 games, is the paycheck getting cut into 18ths, or is it getting cut into, are you getting more money because of an extra game? So I think there's a lot of things to discuss, but I'm all for adding 2 byes to the season just because that gives you an extra week of football regardless. So I'd hope they get that, and hopefully someday too. I saw that we were talking about getting rid of spring football and just going into maybe July a little bit, which I don't disagree with, but I just really hope they don't take away my July 4th because I thoroughly enjoy celebrating July 4th.
Not just the amount of games, but the schedule was rough for you guys rest-wise last year. 2 Thursday night games, a lot of playing teams after their bye week. It's kind of similar this week. Did you notice a difference? Did you feel that last year versus previous seasons?
I try not to think about it too much. I think when you do play 4 teams coming off a bye, they're all definitely fresh, and sometimes they're rusty, but I would say most of the time they're just pretty fresh and they're ready to roll. So I think that's tough, especially when you're doing that. If you're on the road versus a home team coming off a bye, I think that's pretty tough. But it's football and we don't make the schedule, so it's just something. It's one of those adversities that you just have to deal with, and it is what it is. You just got to go out there and play football to your best ability. And I don't know if it's an unfair advantage or whatever, disadvantage, but it sometimes makes it tougher. But at the end of the day, you still got to show up and play on that day.
How is it having Trent Taylor back as a
Ooh.
teammate?
It's been fantastic. He spent all of OTAs living at my house, which was kind of nice because someone's living there, and just having a guy from the 2017 draft class has been fantastic. One of my best friends, training with him every single day, so being able to share a locker room with him again has been very fun for me, and being able to drive to work and stuff, it's great. And someone too that is incredibly talented at returning punts. He's always top 5, top 10 in punt return stuff, and always takes care of the football every single time he's back there. And hey, if you need him to run some good routes, on third downs, he does a really good job of that too. And the fact that he knows our offense too, so he fits right in. And him and Brock, I feel like I've had a decent connection so far going. So hopefully that continues to go. But yeah, just having familiar faces in the building is fun because I feel like this is a pretty new team. When I walk in the day, the entire D line's different. Nick Bosa's the oldest D lineman in the room, longest tenured in the room. And so yeah, a lot of new faces everywhere. But you still have a good core group of guys, and when you add Trent to that mix, it's very fun for me.
At the tight end position and tight end position as a whole, Latu didn't get to play last year because he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Braden got to play some. What do you see in those 2 guys?
I think the tight end is very new. You lose Charlie Warner and Dwelly to the Falcons. 2 guys have done it for. Dwelly's done it for 6 years and Charlie for 4 years. And so when you lose that consistency, guys who are used to playing, guys who are used to the offense, there is a gap there that needs to be filled. And I think Cam has come a long way in his rehab stuff, and so really the most important thing for him is just get back on the practice field, and he'll do that during training camp. And he's doing a great job in the meeting rooms. He knows the offense. He's doing a very good job of just learning and understanding what our goals are. So, hopefully he can take everything from that meeting room and apply it to practice, and he goes out there and plays at a high level. Braden has gotten way better since last OTAs, last training camp, last season. It's fun just to see him take these strides. He's figuring out the run game. He's a really good route runner, strong hands, and so they have all the abilities. It's just what I always try to say is you can't replicate reps. You need to go out there. You need to get as many reps as possible. So, Braden getting a lot of reps right now is being very beneficial to him. We brought in Eric Sauber, a guy from my draft class. He's played a lot of football, so that's helpful. He does it the right way, works really hard, so that's kind of nice to see too. He's got a really, really solid player. And then Tungus is I think he's gotten better too, put on a lot of weight, put on some strength. So I think he has an opportunity to, surprise some people too. And then my rookie, Mason Pline, he's just figuring it out right now. Smart kid, picking it up. He's huge too, which is kind of fun, 6'6", like 250 plus. So that's kind of fun to see. But all in all, like my tight end room needs as many reps as they possibly can. So these OTAs are huge for them. And just looking forward to how they keep taking steps in the right direction.
With Juwan signing, I think he had like 19 catches last year, but how would you explain to people like his value? Because, if you just look at the numbers, you're like, well, what's the big deal?
Explain his value. I think every single person in NFL that watches tape, every general manager, every scout, anybody that watches tape, they look at Juwan's film and they're like, holy cow, this guy is one of one. His mindset and his attitude when he's on a football field is completely different. He goes to that dark place that Coach Shanahan would talk about with like Pierre Garçon, and he just is very violent in the way that he plays the game, which you don't see in all receivers. He will hit defensive ends as hard as he can. He'll hit linebackers as hard as he can. He's not scared of anything. And if you need him to win on a one-on-one rep, he's going to win on that one-on-one rep. He's got incredibly strong hands, and it's just when you can, for a guy that does it all, he runs the routes, he does the run game, he shows up every day, loving the game with a great attitude every single day. And then you get the game day and he makes all those plays. That's someone that you want to be in your building. It's someone that you want to pay. That's someone you want to reward because he's just going to keep bringing that every single day and he's just going to raise the standard of everybody around him. So when you have a guy like that does everything, it's great for us. Should they better? Otherwise, I'll have to fight all of them. They will be there though, yes. Thanks, guys.
Doing? What's up?
You have a lot of new faces in your room. How's everything been going so far?
Well, it's been smooth. I think we all get along. We all been learning each other, going out to eat, and just getting to know each other.
How much does that off-the-field chemistry help you when you're on the field?
I think it helps a lot. Just I guess getting to know each other and being comfortable because we really got to work together all season. So just being able to, I guess bond with everybody, it make it easy to play football together.
Has there been more of an effort to spend more time together off the field with all the new faces?
I think it just happened natural. Just everybody just trying to get to know each other. We had pretty much a lot of new guys come in, so I think it was a mutual thing of everybody just trying to get to know each other and just doing things together.
Kind of maybe just give us a description of two of the new guys with Jordan Elliott and Malik Collins.
I know Malik for a while, so I already knew Malik. I trained with him a little bit in the off season, and he the same draft class as me, so yeah, Malik a laid back dude, pretty good dude. And Jordan, I think my first interaction is he dapping me up and just realizing how strong he is. He got a good grip when he dapping up and stuff. But he a funny guy, good dude to be around too.
I know you won't be right next to him, but how's Leonard Floyd? He said he just really enjoyed his time here so far.
Yeah, he another person who I came out with in 16. So he laid back dude and just all about his work.
Played 2 seasons now back to back where you went all the way to the very last game. I'm curious, physically, do you feel the same way when the season was over? Did you feel the same way after this one as you did after the last one, or what kind of toll does it take on your body to play that much football?
I mean, right out there, it'd be kind of, everybody's body pretty beat up. But I think around this time, I'm feeling pretty good and feeling the best. Just about the time you feel the best in football around this time.
Do you need surgery on your thumb?
No, I kind of it scarred in and actually healed on its own, so I didn't really need surgery.
I assume it wasn't very much fun to play with that.
Nah, especially in the beginning. But they kind of made me like a good cast that I could play through it.
What it's been talking about long seasons. The NFL wants to, or the owners are eager to add an 18th regular season game. What are your feelings about that as a player?
I mean, yeah, I don't know about that one. Yeah.
You're happy at 17?
I used to, I was here when it was 16 too, so I like the 16, but the 17, okay.
What are you looking to build on from last year? Like, in what areas do you think that, when you review your 2023 season, where you believe that you can make strides this coming year?
I know just some of the technique things of playing in this defense, just learning how to play the run better in this type of defense, and just for me, just winning my one-on-ones quicker and just having an overall better season.
Is that process of kind of breaking down one year and moving on to the next, have you gotten into a routine of, every year you've been in the league, kind of focusing in on something different every offseason?
Yeah, you just try to add things, and I had a lot of success doing the same things, but just try to find ways to get better and, keep your body good and keep you going, keep you just improving every year.
How would you assess your first season with 49ers?
I mean, it was pretty good. Wish we could have won the thing, but it was a pretty good. I was with a lot of good dudes, and they just brought me in, and I just really feel like I just want to build on it this year and just be better as a whole this year.
Is there anything in particular that you looked at that, like when you're watching the game tape, that you want to pinpoint this season?
I think it's just overall. I feel like I could have won a lot more in the pass rush stuff and just be better in the run game stuff and just being in way better shape than I was last year.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
That'll be it for today, guys.